Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Ember, and I play The Sims 4. And today I wanted to share with you a speed build of a public pool I built using the new Courtyard Oasis kit. I decided to build the pool in Oasis Springs, which I think a lot of other people are doing as well, because the kit really fits well in that world. And I think that probably was part of the motivation of the team when they were developing it, because it is called the Courtyard Oasis kit, and we already have Oasis Springs, and it sort of fits with the general architectural style, but the kit does bring in some interesting things that we haven't really seen before, some new tile patterns. It does have a very Moroccan feel, and I think that's really cool that they wanted to represent the architecture of like a specific place, and I think that is a cool direction to take this kit to represent something that isn't really in the game. Looking at, reference pictures and stuff of like Moroccan courtyards, it does seem to really fit that aesthetic, and unfortunately I just have to rely on reference pics. But I was supposed to go on a study abroad trip to Morocco actually last summer, but then of course the pandemic happened and it had to be canceled, which was really disappointing because I was really excited to get to visit Morocco, and it just seems like such a really interesting place, sort of a crossroads of a lot of different cultures. I was supposed to be studying in Meknes, Morocco, and learning Arabic. I've actually already taken some Arabic classes, and one of my Arabic professors is from Meknes, or I'm not sure, I think maybe just like his mom's family is from Meknes. I'm not sure if he specifically is, but some of his family is. And I was really excited to get to, hear from him about places where I should visit and, possibly get in contact with other people that he knew and just, explore. And we were also supposed to visit a lot of different cities around Morocco as well. And I think it would have just been a really interesting experience. I've been learning Arabic, and I've also been learning French, and both are spoken in Morocco. And I really was looking forward to the opportunity to practice my language skills, because the thing about learning a language is, in a classroom, you can learn to some extent like reading and writing pretty well, but to really get good at conversation, you kind of just have to use it in everyday life, and there just aren't that many opportunities to do that in a classroom. You can have some practice speaking, but it's just not the same as actually being out there and actually living in a community where people speak that language. So even though I'm pretty good at like reading and writing French especially, and I'm okay at writing and reading Arabic, my listening comprehension and my speaking skills are not great. So I was hoping to get to go to Morocco and to practice and meet people and learn about a culture that I don't have much experience with. But unfortunately, the study abroad had to be canceled because of the pandemic. And I thought that I might be able to go this summer instead, even though I was supposed to go last summer. But of course, the pandemic is still happening. They apparently were going to offer some sort of study abroad, but even from my university, they said, like, we'll let you know if you're able to go by the deadline. And like, I'd rather know if I'm able to go before the deadline instead of, oh, today's the last day when you have to like pay and commit and buy a plane ticket. We'll tell you whether or not you can go now. And also there is the issue of I graduated at the end of this semester, and if I wanted to do a study abroad and get funding for it this summer, I would have had to defer my graduation, and there's a lot of paperwork to do with that and a lot of issues to deal with. And I would have maybe had to stay enrolled in taking a class at my university while also taking classes in Morocco. And that just seemed like a lot of hassle. But yeah, I really wish I would have been able to go, but I also just feel like it's irresponsible to travel during a pandemic when you really don't need to. Yeah, I am sad that I didn't get to go to Morocco. I would have liked to, see all of this architecture for myself and just really learn more about the culture. And I was really excited for the classes I was going to take as well, especially, learning more Arabic and actually putting it into use. but maybe someday I'll still be able to visit. When I was thinking about what to build with this pack, I thought that it would be really interesting to build a public pool because I feel like it fits the aesthetic, and in Oasis Springs, it's a desert. It'd be nice to have somewhere to go when it's hot and sunny outside, to go and cool off and relax in the water and just have a really peaceful escape for some summer fun. And there's also not really many public pools in the game. Like, there aren't any in the base game. I guess it's because pools weren't released until after the original base game release. I think that there is a public pool in Windenburg, and I think that there might be pools in different gyms and stuff in other packs. But yeah, I think that there should be more public pools in the game. And so I thought it was a really cool opportunity to build a public pool with just the base game and the new Courtyard Oasis kit. So I hope that the most people are able to download this, basically anyone who's bought the Courtyard Oasis kit, so that they can put a pool in their Oasis Springs and have their Sims go there. I also wanted to include some different skill items and different activities. Whenever I start a new build, I'll often go to the activities and skills tab and just sort of see what's there, because it's kind of, as pretty as a lot might be, if you take your Sims there and there's nothing to do, it's kind of boring. So I did end up putting, in addition to the pool, there are some chess tables in this build. There's also a bar and a grill. And there's also several areas with couches. There's also jukeboxes so that they can listen to music and dance. So I think it'd be a really nice place to go, take the kids to the pool or go out on a date or something like that. I started out with the pool on a 30 by 20 lot in Oasis Springs, but as I was building, I just realized that it was kind of small. It didn't really give me enough room to do what I wanted to create those spaces around the pool for relaxation and having a little bit of shade from the sun, because it is a desert, and realistically, while it's great to be out in the sun and you want to swim, and I did put a few lounge chairs out in the sun, I thought that you'd also want to have some shade so that you're not getting sunburned, so it's not too hot. And it just feels much more relaxing to be out of the direct sunlight, especially when you're somewhere like Morocco where it's very sunny and there's a lot of heat. You want to have that escape from the sun, have a little bit of shade. As I said, I did put some lounge chairs out in the sun, and I actually using platforms, I made a little indentation. And in my mind, that's a little area with a few inches of water in it where people can relax and sunbathe. Because I've seen that a lot at public pools where they'll have a little section right beside the pool that does have some water, but it's for lounging. So you can sit out on a lounge chair in the sun, but you're still surrounded by water. You can still, dip your feet in the water. I think that's a really cool thing that I've seen at public pools, so I wanted to recreate that. Even though we can't really make shallow pools of water, I tried to use tile to give that appearance, and I think it turned out really well. I do wish that this pack had a few more items in it. It does have a lot of architectural stuff, which is really cool. So it really helps, with the actual building. There's columns, there's doors and archways, and different trim and stairs and stuff. And I think that's really cool. I do wish that there were a few more buy mode items though. The stuff that there is very cool, but especially as I was building this, I tried to use curtains, and there just are not any curtains in the base game that go well with this. That's really a problem in general. We need more base game curtains. And as far as rugs as well, there just weren't very many that I could find that worked. I did figure out that you can use the tile as a sort of rug. You can take the tile and move it around so that it looked a little bit like a rug, even though it's tile. And I do think that is pretty cool. But it would have been nice to have some curtains, some rugs, and also some paintings or wall hangings to go with this pack, because there just isn't very much that fits very well with it. And it's kind of hard when you're doing a build and there's no paintings or wall hangings that you can use. So I ended up using, a lot of windows, which the windows are cool. But you don't want to have your only wall decoration be windows and then you don't even have any curtains or anything. especially like the reference picture I was looking at, there were a lot of curtains around this like Moroccan pool, and I think that it would have fit in really well. So while I do like the things that came with it, I would have liked, a few more items to really round it out fully. So I was watching a video from Sydney Macaretta, which if you haven't watched her, she does great Sims builds. You should definitely go check out her channel. But I was watching a video from Sydney Macaretta about this new Summer of Sims, which is apparently a thing that was announced by EA, that there's going to be a Summer of Sims, which includes a new game pack, a new expansion pack, and several other things. They mentioned a Pride block party and some other very like vague hints at different things. But something I was really excited about that Sydney mentioned is that they're discussing adding pronoun options to the game, which is something that would be huge for me and I think for a lot of other people. That's something that's really frustrated me with the game for a while now, is that while there's some gender customization, you cannot choose your pronouns. Pronouns are based on the body type of your sim, basically. So if you choose to have your sim have a certain body type, they'll have he, him pronouns. And if you choose to have your sim have another body type, they'll have she, her pronouns. But there's no other options, and they're tied to body types. Like, you can't even choose the pronouns specifically. And as someone who is non-binary, who uses they, them pronouns, that's really frustrating to me. It's one reason why I don't ever really create myself in the game. When I do create non-binary characters, I'll usually, say, okay, well, they use she and they pronouns or he and they pronouns, because it kind of is upsetting to me to see characters misgendered from how I have them in my head. I also use a genderless mod to sort of take out as many gendered words and terms in the game as possible, which is nice, but I would really like to have the option to actually choose pronouns. So I'm glad to hear that EA is working on it. I hope that they do a good job with it and that there are a lot of options. Apparently they are trying to make it work in all the different languages that The Sims is in, which I do think that could be really cool. And I hope that they're working with like people who use different pronouns in those countries, or people who are non-binary, or who, use different language to describe themselves. I hope that they're working with people that speak those languages, because I think that would be a really cool opportunity to add a lot of diversity and add a lot of representation to the game. I'm also excited to see what this Pride block party is going to be, which presumably will be in June. I'm planning to make a series of builds based on different pride flags. So in the game, there's, a wall hanging that has like a bunch of different types of pride flags. And I was thinking that it would be really cool to make builds based on the colors of each of those pride flags. So, make an aromantic house, make a transgender house, like based on those flags. But I think that's a really cool thing to base a bunch of builds on. And then I was thinking I could also create Sims to live there and just have a little bit more of that representation in the game, and, represent myself and my friends and my community and like people that I know actually in the game. And I think that would be really cool. And then I was thinking also that during those builds, I could give recommendations of different YouTubers that I like who have those identities. So if I'm doing an asexual pride flag build, I could recommend a bunch of asexual YouTubers that I really like watching. And I'm also really excited for that, because I think sometimes it's hard to find YouTubers that you resonate with and that share your identities. And so there's a lot that I follow that I really, really enjoy and have a lot of insightful things to say. And so I'd love to share them with people. And, it gives me something to talk about over this speed build. So if you are interested in seeing that series, make sure you subscribe so that you can see it when it comes out. And I'm just really excited to share it with everyone. There's a few different ideas actually that I have about things that I want to do. Like, I want to do a new challenge that I've come up with, basically where you play The Sims but as a bear, using the bear suit from Outdoor Retreat. But I kind of had put off those series that I was really excited about because I couldn't figure out how to get my graphics for my videos to work right. And I really don't want to make these videos that I'm really excited about and then the graphics not be very good. I did figure out that probably the problem is my CPU. Not that my computer can't handle the graphics, but that I just don't have enough processing power to play the game and also record video with good graphics. So I've done some things to try to reduce CPU usage. I think that this video is a lot clearer than the ones that I tried to do in the past. So I'm really excited to start making those different series that I'm excited for. I hope you've enjoyed this build. And if you want to download it, it's on the gallery. My origin ID is rainingEmbers. I'll put that in the description of this video as well. But yeah, you can download it. I think I named it Oasis Springs Public Pool as well, if you want to search for it that way. And I hope that if you download it, your Sims enjoy it. And please let me know what you think of this build, if you have any suggestions, or suggestions for, other things that I could build in the future. Thanks for watching.